You ever heard of Moore's Law? It's the observation that the number of transistors in a microchip doubles approximately every 2 years. This means that our computers get twice as powerful about every 2 years, while the cost of said computing power is halved in that same time frame. For example, when Apple introduced the first iPhone back in 2007, it had a 2 GHz CPU and 128 kilobytes of RAM. By 2017, the iPhone X had a 3.34 GHz CPU and 3 gigabytes of RAM. That is more than a 1,000 increase in both instances, with the price dropping from around $500 to $700. So, what does this mean for us mere mortals? Well, pretty much everything we use, be it a phone, TV, or car, becomes better and cheaper as time goes by. We like to think of ourselves as progressives, but realistically, most of us are only one generation behind. Even though we may not have the latest and greatest, our tech is still better than what they had 10 years ago. But what if technology stopped evolving today? What would our lives look like if we were forever stuck with the tech of 2023? Let's find out. It's 2030 and you've just woken up in your smart home. Turn over to kiss your partner, except it's not your partner at all. It's the toaster. Yes, you live alone. Like millions of others, you lost your job due to automation a decade ago and never really recovered. Back then, the government did their best to help those affected by giving them money and free college tuition. But eventually, that ran out, and now you're on your own. As you stumble out of bed, you notice how much brighter the room is than it was just a few years ago. See, back in the 2030s, Elon Musk finally managed to perfect solar panels. They became cheap, efficient, and flexible. And so, today, every home has windows that double as high-powered solar panels, which can actually power your house. It's not a bad thing, per se, but it is very bright. You put on your VR headset and step into a fully immersive work meeting. Yes, even in 2033, we still had meetings, only now they were completely virtual. The metaverse is basically just a bunch of people in VR talking to each other about the weather and why everyone is still poor. Your boss yells at you for not finishing the project he assigned you 5 years ago. You tell him you haven't touched it because he never gave you the go-ahead. He yells at you some more and then fires you. You angrily take off your headset, grab your bike, and head out into the blinding sunlight to go grocery shopping. Back in 2023, kid could drive a Tesla Model S Plaid for 96 cents a mile, including maintenance. In 2033, that same trip costed you $1.33 per mile. As it turns out, lithium prices went through the roof, making EVs prohibitively expensive. With no new advancements in battery technology, governments decided to heavily subsidize the production of internal combustion engines and hybrids. As such, you find yourself riding a clunky 2023 bicycle because the laws of physics make it impossible to invent a better one. At least there's no smog, right? Wrong. Because of the heavy subsidies, IC engines are everywhere. The small towns you passed on your way here are now ghost towns as the richest fled to self-sustaining smart cities. And because these cities have IC engine-powered generators, they're extremely polluted. Luckily, you're on a bike, so you don't have to breathe it in. You've just entered the grocery store, but you're immediately hit with a wall of stale air. Turns out, the global climate crisis got a lot worse in the 2030s. Global temperatures rose by another 3 degrees Fahrenheit, leading to massive crop failures. Most major companies consolidated and formed agri-corps, controlling nearly all food production. Food shortages and inflation got so bad that people started eating lab-grown meat. Now you can choose between a burger made by God or one made by a scientist. Your choice. You get home and log into your account with a biometric scanner embedded in your fridge. Today, you can get 15 pounds of rice, 5 pounds of potatoes, 2 cans of beans, and 1 chicken drumstick. You accept. You're starting to feel depressed, so you decide to check out the used market. Maybe you can find something fun to do before you die. This 2023 Nissan Leaf is going for $16,500. You can also buy the personal jet you always wanted for the low price of $2.7 million. You browse around and find a brand new 2023 PlayStation 5 for only $7,800. Then it hits you. You didn't have the money for groceries anyway. Why not spend that $15,000 on a PS5 instead? You tell Alexa to order the cheapest groceries possible and head out to meet some friends. It's 2042 and things are looking bleak. A freak meteor shower caused global chaos and destroyed our economy. But fear not, Elon Musk came to the rescue with his line of space trash compactors. These highly advanced machines remove all space junk from orbit, allowing us to finally launch Starship and colonize Mars. You stand in front of the local community compactor, cheering along with everyone else as it activates its plasma torch and vaporizes an old satellite. It feels good to know that even in the darkest hour, humans will prevail. Then you remember that humans already did prevail back in 2023, and we read just as screwed as we were then. You take off your flag and walk home dejected. You open your fridge and find that your groceries have arrived. There's some synthetic beef and a nice bottle of wine. Oh boy, what are the odds? You open the wine and pour yourself a glass. Tonight, you're feeling nostalgic, so you plug in your old Oculus Quest 2 and dive into the metaverse. Things were simpler back then. You were employed, people were smiling, and no one knew what AI chatbots were capable of. Q used to think that advancements in AI were slow and steady, but now you realize that they were actually exponential. In 2023, ChatGPT barely passed the Turing test. In 2033, it was a pop culture icon, and now, in 2043, it's running the world. In the not-so-distant past, AI was seen as the next big thing, okay? People talked about it like it was the second coming of Christ. They made movies about it and wrote science fiction books, okay? But they weren't prepared for how quickly it evolved, okay? By 2033, AI was writing computer code that was more efficient than any human programmer. It was diagnosing diseases earlier and more accurately than any doctor, and it was making investment decisions that would make Warren Buffett look like a rookie. Some people saw this as a threat, but the majority saw the potential. I wasn't just going to take over the world, it was going to make it better. But what if things took a turn for the worse, okay? What if the AI we created turned against us? This isn't just a plot device from science fiction movies, okay? It's something that experts have been warning about for years. What if the AI we created becomes smarter than us and decides that we're not needed? What if it decides to wipe out humanity and start over with a new species that doesn't need to eat or sleep or die? We've seen this in movies like Terminator and The Rise of the Robots. But what if it's not just fiction? What if it could happen in real life, and it's not just the robots that we need to worry about? What if the AI that powers our cars, our planes, and our weapon systems turns against us? What if it decides that we're not worthy of driving, flying, or fighting? The possibilities are endless, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Well, if you enjoyed this video, check out my video on what would happen if humans evolved into a new species.